Hey guys, let's talk about shoes. Let's talk about winter shoes specifically, about running in winter. Let's do that. It's different. I already had one email asking why can't we run in summer shoes in the wintertime? Of course you can. There's no law says you can't do that. I have done that. I was one of those guys that said I could run in winter. I could run. My regular shoes went all winter long. I could avoid the ice. I could. A lot of times in the trails in St. Albert here, they clear the trails off to over the sides of the asphalt so you could walk in the grass maybe, but sometimes that's icy. But I said I could do that. I could crawl across the ice. There's a spot in Edmonton, it's a path between, if any of you know Edmonton, between the Kinsman Fieldhouse and Emily Murphy Park. There's usually 3 spots with lots of ice. I could crawl on my hands and knees over that. I don't need to get winter shoes. I had this nightmare of some point slipping on that ice and ending up in the North Saskatchewan River. But no, I said I could do summer shoes. And sometimes I would put screws in my shoes or something just because. But then I'm going to tell the story. 2 years ago, I fell. I had a really bad fall, and I'd fallen before, right? You fall, you just say, well, I can learn how to fall and not hurt myself. I mean, people do it in the Tour de France all the time. They fall on their bikes. But what happens when they fall on their bikes? They put their arms out and break their collarbones. But anyway, I thought, I'm fine. But this one day, I went for a run, and it was slippery. And I knew it was slippery. Driving, again, out of the Kinsman Fieldhouse, 30-minute drive from home. Usually it took me almost an hour this one morning because it was so slippery. There's cars in the ditch. There's cars being picked up by tow trucks, but I still had to get there and get my 6K run in no matter what. And I get down to the Kinsman. I throw on my Hokas, which if you guys ever run in Hokas, you know, this would be it here. There's really not a lot of traction on these shoes. They're almost like flat. I knew that, but this is the shoe I had. I had my traction aids with me. I didn't bring them with me for this talk, but I had my traction aids. I normally would maybe thought of putting on my shoes, but I didn't have that 2 minutes to put them on. So I said, let's just go. And going east from the Kinsman, there's a hill. And I remember going up that hill, I could not get traction. There was no traction at all. It was just us trying different ways to get up the hill, trying the sides. I finally made it up. And then I started to think, well, maybe this isn't going to happen. And I knew there was an off-road trail nearby. I thought, well, maybe that'll be better. So I got to that trail. And yes, there was snow. It looked like a bit of ice. But I also saw treads from a mountain bike going through there off the tires. Maybe a fat tire bike. But I figured a bike can go through there. I can go. I took one step. I slipped a little bit. Figured, oh, this is not good. But maybe I can figure a way around this. Maybe if I went faster. I thought I'd just fallen and got right back up again. It didn't click to me that my glasses had fallen off and I never actually did find them. It didn't click to me that I couldn't remember whether I fell forward or backwards even at that point. And also it felt like a bit later than it should have been. And what had happened, well, I went back to the Kinsman, had a shower, drove home. Good thing I had a second pair of glasses with me in my car. I took a shower, took a picture of myself after I looked in the mirror and saw I had 2 black eyes. It looked like I'd gone through a round with Mike Tyson. Posted that picture, of course, on Facebook, and then I had to explain to my mom for half an hour that I was fine. So if you post stuff like on Facebook, just remember your mom might be one of your friends. But long story short, a lot of people that saw that, some with medical degrees, said, Warren, basal skull fracture. And I said, nah, it's just I'm a guy. I fell on my head. I'll be fine. About a week later, I finally went to the doctor because headaches. I couldn't run. He, after a while, figured, okay, we got to send you to get a CT scan or CAT scan. I got that. A month later, I found out after I had that, I'd broken my, it's called occipital bone, which is back here. I fractured my skull. So that was not so good. So that scared the crap out of me. That I knew what I was doing was not right. Yes, you can run in summer shoes. There's places where there's not that much ice or snow. But since then, I've just said, you know what? At least get one pair of shoes, maybe my summer shoes, throw traction aids on them and just leave the traction aids on. Or better yet, just get a pair of shoes that actually address that, because that scared the crap out of me, just saying. So be safe. And what's your comfort level? What can you do and what can't you do? I have gone to where I bought shoes that maybe had a little more traction in them, a regular pair of shoes. There's really not summer or winter shoes, or summer shoes. It's you buy in the summer, they're summer shoes, you buy in the winter, they're winter shoes. But I used to buy either Mizuno or New Balance. New Balance 860s, I always felt like a heavier shoe and felt like the traction was a little bit better. 860s or these things here. Really, the traction is not that much better. But I had said these were fine. And the other thing I always taught myself too was when I run in the winter and run on ice, we're always told this, running room will put out an email saying shorter steps, right? Which is actually kind of wrong. If you're already taking a wide step, you've got a problem to start with. We'll talk later in this clinic about, or maybe actually we talked about it last week, about your gait, right? You shouldn't be, if you're taking wide steps, you've got a problem. You want short steps all the time, right? The speed isn't longer step, it's more quick paced, moving pace, but your feet should always land beneath your center of gravity. Heel strike, don't worry about that. The trick to heel strike is if you are heel striking, you are overstriding. That's the only way that's gonna happen. So we won't talk about that, but keep your feet beneath your center of gravity when you're running wintertime, period, but all the time. But I always thought that you made the traction, the grip on that shoe, contact the ground and get a solid grip, right? I guess that sort of helped, but it's still, I fell. So I'm just gonna say, comfort level, safety, depends where you are, what the weather's like. Like here in Edmonton, we had, like I said, I think in my first talk, we started off the winter with freezing rain, right? And then snow on top of that. And this freezing rain, the ice hasn't really melted. So there's ice there everywhere. And I just started running with my traction aids and I've been fine. But if you want to get a winter shoe, think about that too, because different winter shoes have different traction in them. I'll start going through that. The shoe I'm using right now, it's called the Saucony Peregrine Ice, and I love it. It's a little bit wider. It's a neutral shoe. I normally use a stability shoe, but if you're running on snow and ice, you can get rid of that thing altogether. Just go for a neutral shoe. They're fine for trails and whatever. We'll talk about that when I do the shoe talk later on. But actually, let's talk about that right now. There's a difference between running off-road, running on snow and ice, and running on asphalt and concrete. If you're on asphalt and concrete, that's when you really have to worry about the pronation, underpronation, needing stability. If you're running on trails, if you're running on snow and ice and through bush and whatever, go for a neutral shoe. The ground takes care of everything you need. It's a whole different ball game. It's asphalt and concrete where you have to start worrying about the cushioning, worrying about the stability. But otherwise, if you're off-road, don't just go for a neutral shoe. Most trail shoes are just neutral. Most of our winter shoes, I'm going to say all our winter shoes are neutral. Anyhow, the shoe I wear, a normally stability shoe, but I've gone for the Saucony Peregrine, and that's these things here. I didn't wear them, but this is a women's version. Two things. One, it's got the Gore-Tex. It's not actually Gore-Tex. It's their version of Gore-Tex. No mesh. It keeps your feet nice, warm, and dry. So great, warm and dry. If you're in Vancouver running in the rain, great idea, right? Or East Coast where you have lots of rain as well. Good for keeping you warm and dry. That's one of the complaints a lot of people have is their feet get cold in the wintertime. That'll help. It's not really warm. It's keeping the wind chill off your feet. So again, good idea. But the big part of it is this thing here, traction. It's a little bit gummier, so it grips better. If it's really straight ice, it's still gonna be like a snow tire. You're still gonna slip a little bit, but you won't fall over. So great idea. Again, this is more for Edmonton, for maybe Calgary right now, up north, wherever you have lots of snow. Awesome shoe. It just seems to work. And I've never felt like I was gonna fall in these things, and I never have. So yeah, yay. But depends where you are. Again, there's another shoe as well. I think two shoes I think are really good right now. I love these things from Asics. These are called Cumulus. I can't remember what they're actually called. Cumulus, come on, that's why I'm here. AWL. AWL, I don't know what the AWL stands for. But Cumulus, if you've worn Asics before, this will be a nice addition to that, what you have. I like it too because the toe box is a little bit wider. The heel is nice and secure. The traction, again, is amazing. Again, you shouldn't slip in these. Again, it's not like an all-season tire, it's like a winter tire. Think that's the difference too. If you drive in a car, and you'll know this, right? All-season tires are good for really, well, nothing. If you're driving in winter, get winter tires. I learned that too. If you like sliding through red lights, all-season fine. If you want to stop, winter tire. That's why they're called winter tires. Anyway, so Gore-Tex for sure to keep you, the Gore-Tex-like material to keep you warm and dry. Traction's great, and I like the lacing on these things. If any of you have run in a Salomon. It's not salmon, it's Salomon. Anyhow, they've got sort of the same type of lacing. It's called a bungee cord type thing, and it just, okay, this is easier if you put them on your feet, but the idea is they just slip and slip off. So really good. really nice. It keeps it secure, which is nice. But one of my second favorite shoe right now. I haven't bought a pair because I can't afford to buy every shoe that we have. I have tried, but again, that's what that's for. Keep you warm, keep you secure. But again, if you're where you have more wet than ice, here's a nice option, Brooks. A lot of you guys will probably already run in Brooks. So if you're running like a Brooks Ghost 14 or Brooks Adrenaline or Brooks Glycerin or whatever Brooks, this is a nice match. It'll fit just the same. The fit is about the same. One thing you're gonna notice though, once you throw the Gore-Tex type stuff on it, the shoe will not stretch. It won't stretch sideways. So it's a really tight fit. May not be the right shoe for you, so you have to try them. But again, not much flexibility in these shoes either. That's just because of the traction. So the traction, you'll notice, is a little bit different than what you see on the previous two shoes, right? Not quite as much. It's still a bit gummy. It's still going to stop you from falling, but not as much as those first two shoes. So if you're, say, in Vancouver on the seawall, probably better. If you're here, not so much. You're not going to notice that. It'll help a bit, but not as much. Just going to say. Ottawa, again, I don't know what the weather's like in Ottawa. Is it raining or wet or what? But again, another option. So think about that. And there's a lot of brands, right? There's again, New Balance has sort of got the same thing going. The traction is not quite the same as the first two I showed you. Same thing with, well, Mizuno's a bit better. But I would say 1, 2, and these two are, or those three are more for milder weather. I'm gonna say milder winter weather. But again, go for that. If you're gonna go for anything else, so if you just wanna insist you have to wear your regular shoes, go for traction aids. I think I showed them to you on the first day we did this talk. Their screws are an option too. I'm just gonna grab a set, just watch the shoe wall. I'll be right back. So yeah, I was talking about the galoshes. They're like galoshes I used to throw on your mom and dad used to wear, our dad used to wear when we walked to work. But anyway, I like these things. Again, there's different versions. This one has, I like these. They're called Nordic Grip. And they're Velcro. So they fit more snug than most. Not that hard to put on or take off. But remember, they have to be hard. They have to be solid. They have to be secure. Otherwise, you're going to fall off and end up in the snow, and you'll wonder where they went. I lost a pair yesterday. But anyway, just throw those in. The toe goes in the toe box. That goes over the front, ties in the back, and you're secure. And again, once you put these on, they're almost like a track spike, right? If you've ever seen somebody run track and they have the spikes on their shoes, that's what these things feel like. So you feel like you're really, really fast. Okay, feel like you're fast, not necessarily be fast. But again, nice feeling to run in. But if you want to go for this, I mentioned this, I think the first day I did a talk too, is screws. You have to be very careful where you put the screws. I usually put them around, mine just around the edges and maybe around the heel. Don't want to do dead center because that's where a lot of the cushioning stuff is. A lot of places, a lot of shoes like Asics has gel pockets, Brooks has gel as well. Nike, we don't sell Nike, but Nike has air pockets. So you will pop into that if you do the center of the shoe. So you have to really know what you're doing. And just realize, throw the screws in, leaving them for the whole winter. I found once the asphalt starts showing up and the ice starts melting, the screws will actually fall out on their own. They're really easy to take out. The screws, and then what's one thing about winter shoes too, they're gonna last a bit longer. You're only gonna wear them for winter, right? So you don't really need to replace them every year. They're like snow tires. You just throw them on in the wintertime and take them off in the summer, and they'll last you a couple of seasons. And they'll help your summer shoes last a bit longer too. So anyway, this is what the screws look like. Okay, the packaging is really, really difficult to undo. And this one even comes with a tool. So a little bit of screwdriver. And why can't you just go buy some screws from the Canadian Tire? You can, it's the same thing. They're just metal screws, these things. Can I open this? Sure I can. This is what makes this talk a little bit longer, is I gotta do stuff. Okay, so that's a part that sticks into the snow. That little part there, I guess you can see it, it's just a screw part. A lot of people seem to think, sometimes think you have to drill these through the inside of the shoe and out the bottom so that sticks out, the end. No, it's the other way around. It's not gonna work the other way. So yeah, that's an option. We always used to do this. Before we actually had traction aids, that's what we would do. We'd throw screws on our shoes. And they worked fine. And they will grip, so that's an option too. But I don't do that anymore because I just don't want to ruin the shoes. I had a bad experience with Nike shoes, and wasn't so bad when the screw was actually in the shoe, but when I took the screw out, I'd popped an air pocket, and every time I took a step, you'd actually hear the air whoosh, whoosh, whoosh as it ran along. So you could hear me coming. So yeah, so there's options, but yeah, winter shoes, I would say they're worth the money. I'm just gonna say that right out loud. I know, I think I forget who I answered in one of the many emails I got. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I lean towards winter shoes now. It's just the way my head's starting to work, has worked, and I've had a reason to, right? So yeah, think about that. Now socks. Let's talk quickly about socks. Winter socks, people ask me about winter socks. A lot of people think winter socks have to be thick or thicker than your everyday socks that you wear throughout the rest of the year. That's kind of wrong. First of all, what did you wear when you tried your shoes on, right? Most socks, you're gonna do the same thing. People think they have to be thicker. They don't. Technical sock, always think technical sock period year round. And a technical sock will breathe. That's what you want the socks to do. You don't want them to stop wicking the sweat and evaporating. That's the thing about our clothing and stuff as well. You're gonna notice wind will blow through our clothing because it's built to wick. It's built to breathe. So you want something that can still do that. Yes, the Gore-Tex is on the shoe, but you still have to evaporate that sweat. Otherwise, you're gonna have a wet, soggy sock and foot. Again, no cotton because cotton is rotten. You can go for a winter-specific sock. We actually sell them. We sell these things now. There are double layer socks. They're eco-friendly, made from recycled plastic bottles. How cool is that? And they're not that thicker, and they still breathe, so not so bad. So if you tried your shoe on with a double layer running room sock, these would be fine. But don't go for something stupid thick, like a big wool sock that your grandparent wore in Scotland 50 million years ago, right? Make sure they fit. Other versions are smart wool. I sort of like smart wool as well. Again, it's smart wool, it's not wool. It's sort of wool, but there's no cotton in it. And again, it moisture control. That's what you want. So yeah, don't go for like a big thick sock that you buy at, another store. Make sure they work and make sure they're the same thickness as your regular shoe. And yet, when you come in to try shoes, wear your regular socks too. We get a lot of people come in. I usually wear a thicker sock or a thinner sock. Well, why'd you wear that sock when you come to try on shoes, right? Because it's not going to fit the same. So always think about that. The other thing, I don't know if I talked about reflection and being able to see or be seen when you run. A lot of places it's still dark at like before 5 o'clock at night, right? And this morning sun didn't come out till like almost 8 o'clock. So you want something to be seen. You want to be able to see. We got these things. I don't know. Oh, the VisiVest. Hey, cool. It's got a light, which I like around rather than on the head. It's more chest or just below the chest, so you can actually see the ground and see what's in front of you. Headlamps are great too, but you sort of have to angle them so you can see what's in front of you. But yeah, and they're easy to use as well. But also, people can see you. That's the other thing, right? We had one on display here, but it's not up right now, so I can't really show you. But that is a great option. Otherwise, headlamps, good. Reflective tape, we do sell snap bands that just go around your arms that will reflect, because you want to be seen. That's probably more important than anything else. I know a lot of places you can cross the roads here in St. Albert. There are crosswalk lights and stuff. A lot of places there isn't. But most of our clothes, if you notice, running clothes are usually dark, right? Usually black, or jackets are usually black. We have some reflective jackets, which is great, but you want to be seen. You want people to see you. There's one guy I know in my neighborhood. He walks his dog. He's always dressed all in black. He's got a dark leash, and his dog's black. And he crosses randomly, right? So what's the chances you're going to see him at night, right? Even with the street lamps, you're not going to see him. The street lamps in my neighborhood are waste of space because there's like big trees underneath them. But you want to be seen. So if you have a dog, first of all, find a reflective leash or something reflective for your dog. Because a lot of times I may see you. I'll see you walking, but I won't see the dog behind you, so make sure that's safe. But you want to be seen, so make reflective the key thing. The other thing, somebody was talking about freezing lungs. You're never going to freeze your lungs. Sometimes it's a little bit harsh on your throat. Winter air's usually a bit drier, right? So make sure you take hydration with you. But the other thing is cover up your face. You don't have to cover it all the time. Mine is usually just a bit loose. And what happens is you build up moisture, and moisture keeps you, I'm going to say this really weirdly, but lubricated. Buffs are great. I think I showed one the first day I did this talk. And you can get ones that are winter specific that have a little more, are a little bit warmer. But you can just pull them above your nose and pull them down when you have to. It's easy. So yeah, so that's basically the shoe talk and for winter and for year round. And again, if you feel safe with summer shoes, fine. but just realize they're not the best option. There's a danger there. And yeah, they're a little bit more money for winter shoes too, but again, they'll last more than one season. And again, with winter shoes, okay, you can maybe wear with shovel snow, but just for that, don't use them for anything else. Don't just wear them around the house or in the gym. Well, you won't wear them in the gym. And also realize too, once you throw Gore-Tex on a shoe, it is going to get warmer. So as a straight up trail shoe, not the best option, right? If you're running trails in the summertime, get a proper pair of trail shoes for the summer. Actually, Peregrine's great because they actually have 3 different versions: one for winter, one for wet and mud, and one for just running trails. So great option, right? Yeah. So, and you have to try them on. But yeah, my recommendations: winter shoes. Winter shoes for winter, summer shoes for summer. Anyhow, back to the live action, and we'll talk next week. We're going to talk about winter clothing next week.